Was your car involved in an accident or just need help with dents? All Magic Paint and Body Collision Centers, in business for over 30 years. Their highly trained staff and certified technicians and friendly staff are the best in the business and treat each car as if it was their own. All Magic Paint and Body Collision Centers are family owned and offer state-of-the-art equipment and tools to ensure optimum results. They use the latest technology in computerized color matching and specialize in frame repairs. With their modern laser measuring systems, they're OEM certified, and they have 4 locations to serve you. All Magic Paint and Body Collision Centers offer rental car assistance with free drop-off and pickup services too, and their work has a lifetime guarantee. All Magic Paint and Body Collision Centers are in Norco, Eastvale, Moreno Valley, and
NBC News on KCAA Loma Linda, sponsored by Teamsters Local 1932, protecting the future of working families. Teamsters1932.org.
NBC News Radio, I'm Lisa Taylor. Crews are working to build a temporary channel around the site of the Baltimore Bridge collapse for commercially essential vessels. The Francis Scott Key Bridge collapsed last week after it was struck by a cargo ship, killing 6 construction workers. The wreckage blocked a vital shipping lane in the port of Baltimore. Severe weather is in the forecast today from the southern plains into the mid-Mississippi and lower Ohio valleys. Hail, wind damage, and tornadoes are possible, with storms moving into the mid-Atlantic and Gulf Coast tomorrow. Greatest threat for tornadoes is in Oklahoma tonight. Police in Nashville are searching for a shooting suspect after a tragedy struck during an Easter brunch. 1 person was killed and at least 7 others injured after an argument broke out between 2 men, with someone then firing multiple shots. It's believed the person killed was one of the men involved in the fight. President Biden is optimistic about his re-election campaign. The president told the Today Show he's been receiving an overwhelming response from supporters while on the campaign trail.
I just think people are so tired of the negativity that is propagated that they just want to get engaged. They want to change things.
Biden also noted that his campaign has received tens of thousands of donations of what he said were $5-10 a pop. This is Biden's gearing up for a rematch with his political rival and Republican frontrunner Donald Trump in November. Congress could vote to give Ukraine additional aid in its war with Russia when lawmakers return from recess next week. During an interview on Fox News Sunday Night in America, House Speaker Mike Johnson says he expects to move an aid package for Ukraine with some important innovations. Johnson has yet to spell out exactly what the package would look like. The supplemental includes funding for Ukraine, Israel, and the Indo-Pacific. The final 2 games of the Elite Eight in the NCAA Women's Tournament are set for tonight. 3-seed LSU and Angel Reese will take on 1-seed Iowa and Caitlin Clark in a rematch of last year's national championship in Albany. Later, 3-seed UConn will face off against 1-seed USC in Portland. You're listening to the latest on NBC News Radio.
What would you do if you had a broken bone? You'd go to the doctor and use your insurance, right? Well, what would you do if you have a serious problem with drugs and alcohol? Most people do nothing until it's way too late. Your insurance can help you get clean and sober with the assistance of a place like the Detox and Treatment Helpline. Many times, addiction treatment is fully covered. So why not use your insurance to treat your addiction problem just like you would if you had a broken bone? And with the Family Medical Leave Act, you're allowed to take time off by law, and your employer doesn't need to know the reason. So there are 2 good reasons. You've got insurance you can use for your addiction problem, and with the Family Medical Leave Act, it's completely confidential. Call now, 800-398-7414. That's 800-398-7414.
It's time to shop in the cool, relaxed comfort of the Tri-City Shopping Center in Redlands, conveniently located on the I-10 freeway between the Alabama and Tennessee exits. Bring the kids too and watch them play in the only indoor fun center, High Five Indoor Playground, where parents are welcomed on the playground. Birthday celebrations are encouraged, so make plans for some great fun at the mall. More reasons why the Tri-City Center is called the Mall with a Heart.
Indy's Demolition in Huntington Park encourages listeners to shop small business and buy local. Buying from small businesses improves the health of our local economy and our nation. Jobs are created, homes enjoy stability, and local businesses support one another. So before visiting the mega chains and internet super warehouses, think local and invest in your hometown. That important community reminder is from Indy's Demolition. Call 323-835-6710 for Indy's Demolition in Huntington Park.
Life is challenging and ever-changing. Take control with passive income through real estate investing. Learn how. Learn now. Let Dell Walmsley and Lifestyles Unlimited's investors and mentors show you. Meet Dell's team live in Anaheim 2 days only at the Sheraton Park Hotel at Anaheim Resort. Saturday and Sunday, May 4th and 5th. Register now at GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. That's GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. Enter promo code 2024 for a special discount offer. GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. Code 2024.
In these trying times, many people are depressed and lost because the future of our society is up in the air. If you're turning to substance abuse because you're feeling there is no hope, we have a way for you to see the light. SAD, or Stop Abusing Drugs, is a nonprofit organization that will help you at no cost to you stop abusing drugs. Founded by Tony Navarchi, SAD will refer you to the top detox doctors in your area. SAD will pay every and any cost for you, including doctor visits, counseling, and medications. If you need help, SAD is there for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you or a loved one needs help, or if you have a suggestion or idea for Tony, you can reach out to him by calling 844-493-3386. That's 844-493-3386. Or email Tony at tony@saddetox.com. That's Tony at SADDETOX.com.
And welcome. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm Not Using a Gift Balance with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News, CNBC News, and NBC Sports Radio Station, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, Audible, Amazon Music, Tiki Live, Rumble, Podchaser, Spreaker, Streaker, you name it. I am there. Why? Because I am on a happy 88 mission. 88 million more happy people in the next 8 years. So this platform has been on now for 622 consecutive weeks. And I am so delighted that you're still here. And I'm very, very delighted that people who said I wouldn't last a year because I was not going to talk about what was going on in the world, because you get that everywhere so easily, people's point of view on what's going on, their perspective, their political rhetoric, their anger that always, when I read it, I go, what's wrong with people? So I wanted to have a place where I could talk about what's right with people, what's right with the world, what's right with you and me. So that's why you're here. And I'm delighted too that we now have the ability to not only stream live, also to be able to come to you from YouTube. And today's my first official YouTube subscription, $2.99 will get you free access today after the show. We're not going to finish with the stream, but any questions and answers that you may, questions and answers that you may have for me about whatever we talk about or anything else. And that starts today. And I want to just welcome my Kashi gallery. We have Sci-Fi Mombi already here. She's a newer supporter of my Happy 88 mission. And certainly, I still don't know who's in my operating my boards in the back, but thank you for all the guys at KCAA that make it possible for me to continue to give my 8 cents worth about what's good with life. All right. And I have a big announcement today also, because after all the work that we did to get the subscription, and thanks to PJ Orville Nation for that, I did get an offer over the weekend to go. It was a COVID interruptus. I was on book tour in China. I was actually I was 10 miles from Wuhan in November of 2019, and COVID interruptus, the book tour, and I just got a wonderful offer to move to China and it to continue my Happy 88 mission. And those of you who know have been there, there's a pretty strong firewall, so that also means that I'll finish up this year, this let's see, 11th year, and May 1st will not be 12 years, but I'm going to finish off at the end of April, going to Canada first to say goodbye to my Chinese mom and then move to China. So that is the big news today. I'll still be on the air on camera for another, let's see, we're at 622. So another 4 weeks. So I'll make it to consecutive week number 626, 626. That's a Asian market. There you go, up near LA. And no, I have not talked to Mark or Fred yet, but I will give them that information today. So whoever's on my boards, don't leak that information yet. I wanted to let y'all know. So let's start with breakfast. I am grateful. For those of you who haven't had breakfast before with me, it is a Blissipline, hashtag Blissipline, or a good life habit that we do on the show. Taking a bite of my gratitude sandwich, 8 things that you're grateful for on the top of your bun, and 8 things that you're grateful for on the bottom of the bun. So what are you grateful for? And feel free to put it in the chat as well as if you're driving, don't put it in the chat. You can just say it out loud to whoever's there or not there. All right. What are you grateful for? I am grateful for not knowing how many people are who listen and support and are being influenced in a positive way, we hope, most of the time by me and the platform that I have, and grateful that more and more people are, coming up and saying thank you, or I listen to you, and all of that, which is pretty. I'm grateful. I'm humbled and I'm honored by all of that. I'm grateful that I have offers like I do to move to China and continue my work there. I'm grateful that I am living in sunny California. The last couple of days have been a lot of rain. It's interesting. It would be like pouring rain in Long Beach. And then I drove up to Beverly Hills for the Easter service at Agape International. And it was like bright, sunny, but I have my rain boots on, which I love too. They're very fashionable. And then my slicker that people love because it's transparent. And I can say I have a see-through top on. And then I get up to LA and it's sunny, no rain. But anyways, I'm grateful that I have had the experiences that I've had in life, that I've traveled to. I have to go and look. You see this map. I have been on my to-do list to put little things on all the places that I've been, and I haven't gotten around to it, but I will. And I think we're over 80 countries now, and certainly I think almost all the continents. And for that, I am super grateful. And now we go to the bottom of the bun. What do you like about yourself? And that is certainly today, Mental Health Matters Mondays, which is a special series that I do to try to give you a few tips, happy 88 tips on how to be happy 88% of the time, so that you actually enjoy the life that you have. And the last thing I want you to do is walk around saying life sucks, because it does not suck. So that's what we do on Mondays. And then I appreciate that I am generous, because I give a free audiobook copy of my #1 best-selling book, 8 Ways to Happiness from Wherever You Are, as a result of Mondays. I appreciate that I am available, and I am starting today the the membership subscription, $2.99 a month, for you to have access to me outside of the show. So just check that video that I put up on the weekend for details on that. And then $4.99 is for you get a free whatever you'd like download, audio book. There's lots to choose from my Balance Marketplace. All right, and I appreciate that I have I have like my friend and past guest Don Most realized that you can do things later on. You remember him as Ralph Malph on Happy Days, and I've been blessed to have both him and his beautiful wife Morgan on the show. If you missed that, go to my YouTube channel and you can get that still for free. That part doesn't change. All of my playlists you get for free. And he told me on the show that actually acting was not his first love. It was music. And so he's been singing and playing and doing great things. And so he's inspired me. I'm going to be entering a karaoke contest. So I am appreciative of my ability to put myself out there still and sing as well. And my last appreciation, drum roll please, is that I love to laugh. I love jokes. And this is one of my favorite days of the year. It's called April Fools. So I am not moving to China, as I announced at the beginning of the show. But, and I put it on my Instagram. I can't find my phone right now. That is not a joke. In getting ready this morning. So I haven't posted it to Facebook yet. But last year when I did April Fools and I said I was moving to Canada, there's still people who say, did you move back to California when they see me here? So I love playing April Fool's jokes. It's one of my favorite days of the year. And so I appreciate my ability to laugh at myself and to, I love it when people go, oh, I hate you. So there you go. So that is the taking a bite of my gratitude sandwich here on Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News Radio, AM 1050, FM 106.5, streaming everywhere, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and of course my YouTube channel Central, where I am now on show podcast number 1136. And so delighted you're here. It is Monday, which is Mental Health Matters Mondays, lots of M's there. And we are talking about selfish. You say selfish like it's a bad thing. And it's aligned with my message around loving yourself. And what does that mean when you say loving yourself? Is selfishness a bad thing or a good thing? Or maybe it isn't bad or good and it's just a thing. And how many of us live our lives not wanting to be disapproved of? So, you know, it's almost a badge of honor to give of yourself so much and then there's nothing left, but I'm not being selfish. So that's the topic for today. So I am happy if you have any questions or good examples. I did get a few messages on this, and I will not give their names so that to keep the identities of the guilty anonymous. Just kidding. But I do have two individuals who shared with me that this is certainly an issue, which is why I chose this topic. And I'm calling it deconstructing codependency. Deconstructing codependency. And some of you who are not in the field of psychology are maybe not well versed or don't know the definition of codependency. So as you know, I love to do. We're going to go do some research first so I can define that for you. Codependency, I actually, when I first started the show, one of my first big guests. Her name is Melody Beatty. She's a friend of mine, and she is basically the I would say the guru of codependency. She wrote the book Codependent No More. So we're gonna go and do. Let's see if there's a checklist here. I know I did it on the show as a part of her part of her interview. Okay, so here we go. Here is the actual definition of codependency. I'm going to share the screen so you can see it. And this is the topic of selfishness. Is there an upside to selfishness? Is it something that we don't, we're conditioned to not be selfish, but is there a downside to that? Okay, excessive emotional or psychological reliance on a partner, typically one who requires support on account of an illness or addiction. The tie that binds most of us together is this trap called codependency. Okay. Now I know there is a checklist. I'm going to see a checklist to see if you are codependent. And I remember using this myself and finding out that I was. So I am a recovering codependent myself. Let's see. Who do I want to take it from? There's a lot of different checklists. Let's see. Let's see, quiz. I don't want to do too many top 10 sites. No, okay, psychology. Oh, okay, psychology today. I use that quite a bit. So I think that's like a balanced. It's not it's not a subjective. So this is okay. Here are some of the telltale signs of a codependent. You're overly concerned about what the other person is doing, thinking, and feeling, and you want to fix or rescue them from their problems. You worry that if you don't take care of them, something bad will happen. And so if that describes you, that's one. We'll use this like as a quiz. So there's actually 10, right? So I'm going to nod my head if I resemble that and shake my head if I don't. And you can do it too. Nobody's watching you because the camera's not on you. You can watch me and see how I answer these. And I'll give you examples that'll help from my own life because I live my life out loud and I'm not afraid to show my dirty underwear. No, to air dirty laundry. Show my dirty laundry. All right. So I definitely in my marriage was overly concerned. I was not happy unless my husband, who was my husband at the time, was happy. So I worried about him because he wasn't happy. And he also was not, we tried different things to get him happy in terms of career, in terms of things to do, but nothing ever worked. So my happiness was tied to his happiness. My relationship is constantly one-sided. One person is hardworking and responsible. The other is allowed to be irresponsible and or avoid the consequences of their actions. You may enable and make excuses for the other person's poor choices. Best example of this is well, it was also pride on my side. When I introduced him to other people, I would say that he did sales and marketing for Budweiser. And in reality, he was a truck delivery for a bottling company that carried Budweiser. So I was hoping that, by buying him a truck for a landscaping business and buying, gym equipment so he could be a trainer, all of those things would help him feel good about himself. Oh, he is very good looking, and so we went the model route too, and tried to use my connections that way. So I was constantly trying to make him happy, doing everything I could, financially especially, to make that happen. Number three, you sacrifice yourself to make the other person happy. So I would work very hard. I was the only breadwinner at the end there for him and my two beautiful daughters, and worked very, very hard. I was on the road a lot, and I still he was a stay at home, not because we made that decision, but basically it would cost more to have the person at home with the kids. He was a great dad for the first 11, 12 years. So I sacrificed my my energy to not just work full time all the time. I also gave him Fridays off so that I'd be with the kids. I took the day off and would be with the kids so he could have his boys' day to play basketball, have lunch with his friends. And then Monday, I was always at home so I could help him take the load off raising the kids, which I was exhausted. Number four, you walk on eggshells, afraid of doing or saying something that will displease or anger them. As a result, I may not express my opinion, share my feelings, or ask for what I want. And to avoid conflict, you may say yes to things that you don't want to do or don't align with your values or goals. We never had an argument because I grew up with very volatile anger. He did too. So, and to be fair, I picked him. I'm not bagging on him. It does sound like I'm bagging on him, but I picked a man who met me where I was, which was we were both damaged. We were both afraid of conflict. And so we never had conflict. We never talked about what we really wanted until it got really ugly at the end with the divorce. Five, you act like a martyr, taking care of everything and everything, but resentful that no one helps or seems to care about you. Huge. I'm programmed to take on what my mom used to do, which is help everybody and then get really pissed off if everybody wasn't grateful all the time. You need to fix or rescue becomes controlling. You attempt to control the other person's behavior through criticism, ultimatums, nagging, or giving unsolicited advice. That's me. I'm a recovering controller. I'm a recovering control freak. And it's very common when you grow up with childhood trauma that is a coping device that may work when you're younger, but blows up when you're older because you cannot control what other people are thinking or doing, but you will die trying to do that. Seven, you continue the relationship even after the other person has repeatedly hurt you physically, emotionally, financially. I asked him 6 times, do you want to be married? Do you love me? Do you want to stay in this marriage? And he never said yes, but he never said no. And it wasn't until he had an affair, and I'm really grateful that he did, that I was able to leave. But this is, they say that, I don't know if I agree with this totally, but I have heard that if someone hits you, beats you in a relationship the first time, you are not responsible for that. But the second time, because you don't leave, you are. And I think that's a little harsh because you don't, the mindset of a person who is being emotionally abused, especially if you're still feeling like you're the child that was abused, it's not that easy just to say, if you don't hit me out, get out. There's a very slippery slope when it comes to domestic violence and abuse that I don't think we can just say it's easy. It is a process, but there are codependents who stay way too long because they've allowed the BS belief systems that were gaslighted on them to take hold and root and sprout a giant weed that they can't get out of. All right. 8, You spend more time taking care of others than taking care of yourself. It's that airplane analogy. You actually take your oxygen and you put it on the other person and you suffocate because you are always in. And I know a lot of full-time working, full-time momming individuals who that's them. They're exhausted all the time. They're doing everything, not necessarily because people are asking for it, but they feel like they're the only ones that can do it right. And so they take everything on and they're exhausted and then depleted. They don't ask for help, which is also an issue of a codependent. And then you end up, just suffocated. 9, you're afraid of being rejected, criticized, or abandoned. 99 compliments, 1 insult. Where does your head go to? If you're like me, I go to the insult and I forget all about the 99 compliments. That is a sign that you are codependent. You often feel resentful, frustrated, being taken advantage of, or unfulfilled. And this is where righteous indignation, if you have a lot of righteous indignation, you are most likely a codependent because that is one of the definite examples of codependency. All right. Thank you for that finger there. Somebody at some point in here gave me the finger, not that one, but this one. So I do appreciate all of the reactions that happen on this show. If you've just tuned in and wondering what's going on in the studio today, it is Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, NBC News Radio, home to the Asian Oprah, number one talk in the IE. And it is Monday. Rainy days and Mondays always get me up. Hashtag up. Unlimited possibilities, which is the flavor or the direction that we take every Monday. And thank you for being here. I am Dr. Marissa, your host producer of this show. Now, today's topic is selfishness. And some of us, if I did a word association, if I said selfish, you would say bad or wrong or it's not good to be selfish. And I'm here to tell you that selfishness, there is a balance. I don't want you to leave the show thinking that selfishness is a something to aspire to because it doesn't matter what anybody thinks or says, and I don't care if you want something from me and you're a child and I'm your parent. I need to take care of myself. And I'll give you the best example of selfishness to the extreme that I'm not talking about. So there was a movement probably, I want to say maybe 20 years ago, 25 years ago. I know I'm hashtag ageless. I don't know if you remember it, Sci-Fi Mom Beat, where women, married with children women, were waking up. I think there's books that are written from this perspective as well, and having a midlife opportunity, or I'll say theirs is a crisis, and saying, you know what, I'm done. So they take it, the straw that breaks the camel's back and says, I don't want to be a wife anymore. I don't want to be a mother anymore. I'm going to look out for me, and I'm leaving and disappearing, and then, letting the kids fend for themselves or whatever. And, leaving your kids in the car when you are doing something, not, doing something like going into, you hear those stories, going into a casino or things that I'm not a good mother would do. Well, those were, I believe, not good mothers, because that is extreme selfishness, the straw that broke the camel's back, and the consequences of that are not really fair to the kids and you did make a choice to get married and have those children, so you do have a responsibility to help raise them. Now, if they're, over 18, that is the age in which you are, you have permission to, you've taught them how to be adults, hopefully. And then after that, go ahead, move to another country. But before that, that movement, I would say, is this kind of selfishness. I'm going to say is not good selfishness. Got it? All right. So that's like the extreme selfishness that I'm not talking about. Now let's look at the extreme unselfishness called codependency that I'm also trying to get you to move away from. So let's give a little history on selfishness. If you grew up religious, selfishness is bad. Do not be selfish. Don't stare. Don't think of yourself first. Serve others first before you serve yourself. Some cultures, that's ingrained in their culture as well. Asian cultures, it's the woman most of the time, actually all of the time. I was raised, I'm the server, I'm the helper, I'm the take care of my brother. I am responsible, even though he broke his arm going down a slide at a birthday party across town and I wasn't there, I'm still responsible. That is the level of non-selfishness and codependency that I grew up with. Like everything was my fault if it went wrong, and nothing was to my credit when it went right. I know that's extreme, but that is how I grew up. And there are many, the April Fool's joke I played on you is actually half true. I am going to China. I'm not moving to China, but I am going to China in June because I do believe that one of my important parts of my Happy 88 mission is to take this book into China because it's a healing book on women, especially Asian women, who have been brought up with negative motivation. You're fat, you're ugly. The intention is well-meaning to make sure your daughter is not fat or ugly, that she'll take care of herself. But it's the impact is actually more mean than well. And when I was in China, right before COVID interrupted us, I was speaking in the Beijing embassy with my limitless speaking partner, Jessica Cox. And there was not a dry eye there because the Asian women could relate to what I was talking about. So I know that that's one of the things that I'm supposed to do in my lifetime is to reach out and bring that message to my Chinese roots there in China. So I will be going in June, but I'm not moving there, as I said in my April Fool's joke. All right. So the extreme of non-selfishness is also not healthy. So I just said the extreme selfishness where you abandon your children to be selfish because it's, I want to discover myself. I need to know who I am. Yes, that is very important. Hopefully that's a constant asking who I am and what do I want, but you're not going to abandon your children in order to discover who you are. That's the negative that way. The negative the other way is, or I shouldn't say negative, but not useful, is extreme unselfishness, which is codependency. We just went through those 15 things or 10 things. So if you have any of those, if you have more than, I would say 5, you're most likely codependent. And I was definitely codependent. I got 10 out of 10 of those. I'm getting better. I would say I have knocked off 7. So there's still 3 there, because I do have kids and sometimes, if they're not happy, it concerns me, but I do not worry about them because I know that they have their own relationship with life and that life's always conspiring for them, never against them. So that extreme unselfishness where you just bend over backwards, forward. You're not a doormat, you're wall to wall carpet. You allow everybody to walk all over you. You allow everybody's needs to come before you. You are constantly exhausted. You're sick, but you don't ask people to help you. A lot of the chronic illness, my BS, my belief system, because I know how emotions affect health, are codependents who have allowed themselves to be so depleted that now their physical body is suffering because of that. And I have coaching clients who have chronic illnesses, and when they realize that they kind of made decisions to not take care of themselves, that allowed the degradation of their health and their ability to take care of themselves. So I'm a huge be selfish with your health, be selfish with your emotions. And how do we do that? So we're well beyond the halfway mark now. We can talk about solution. So, how do you get to that balanced place where you're not codependent? You still are helpful. And I think that in an effort to move from codependency, some people may have like swung the pendulum way to the other side where they are constantly walking around saying, fork you, like, I don't care. That is also not what I'm talking about. We want to get to that middle ground because it's all about balance. What is healthy selfishness? What is healthy, and what is the upside of some codependency? And what is the upside of selfishness? And what does that look like? All right. So I'm going to give you some stepwise or happy steps towards healthy selfishness. What does that look like? I'm going to have a little sip of this first, since I don't have a guest today to interview. I get to do the yakking. All right. So, a healthy selfishness. What is healthy selfishness? And if you have examples, please do feel free to put them in the Cashew Gallery chat where we can dialogue. And certainly, I will have to say, if you are tuning in for the first time or more than once, today starts the gift, the first gift to subscribers of my YouTube TV channel. Sci-Fi Mombi will be staying on with me because she is a subscriber, and we get to chat about anything, whether it's happiness or whether it's relationships or whatever you'd like to. That is what the first level of Get Happy subscription's all about. So you can just hit that subscribe. I think it's below me right now. Those of you who are on my Facebook or LinkedIn Live, just go to my YouTube channel. If you ask my assistant Google about where Dr. Marissa or Asian Oprah is, you'll get that link pretty the top hit on the page. Thank you to Google that I don't pay. All right. First tip is you cannot be selfish if you have a voice in your head that you listen to that tells you that you are not worthy. I can give you all of the tips and tricks and exercises, but if you have a fundamental BS, a fundamental belief system that you're a piece of shiitake, that you don't matter, that you are not worthy, that you really are a bad excuse for a humankind, that you are, it doesn't matter what you think because you don't matter. If you grew up with that, you're probably more likely to carry that message with you past the time that the person who told you that is even in your life. I know people come to me for happiness coaching whose parents or teacher or family member or whoever it was that gave them that message, they're dead, but they still carry around that BS belief system that there's something wrong with them. I was one of those. I was told that. And even after I left the home, I was born in Kitchener-Waterloo, Ontario, Canada. I went as far as I could away, which is California, where the sun is because I'm solar powered. And it still was in my head. It doesn't matter how far you go geographically. If you carry that voice in your head and you listen to that voice in your head, that was a message given to you when you were young, then you know what? None of this is going to work, because the fundamental platform for good selfishness is the BS, the belief system that you are worthy. You don't have to think that you're worthy all the time. There's just an extreme that I joke about. There's a piece of shiitake, and then you think you're hot shiitake, right? So I'm better than you. I'm smarter than you. You're stupid. Okay, that's you walking around thinking you're hot shiitake. But most of the time, you have that voice in your head that says you're a piece of shiitake, and that was me. I went from, I learned early that the way to be loved is to achieve, because that's how my mother defined success was, the youngest to do this, or da 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 da, or A's, or whatever it is that is the measure. And I learned how to look and do and accomplish on the outside. And then people would say, "Oh, you're so fabulous. Look at all of you. Is there anything you can't do?" And I'd smile and I'd say, "Thank you." But the voice inside would say, "You're a piece of shiitake," because they don't really know you. Or when I just made a mistake, that I would beat myself up around that. So if that sounds familiar at all, then your core work is to drop that BS, call the BS, call the belief system that's not true, because every single one of us on the planet, all 8 billion of us, are one of a kind, wonderful. We are worthy. We live in a friendly universe that conspires always for us, never against us. We are a precious child of a friendly universe. We are that, every one of us. And if you had messages that did not affirm that, oh well, right? You are now your own parent to change that BS. And it's not overnight, it's not a switch. You have to begin to catch yourself when you're criticizing yourself. You have to catch yourself when you're singing that "I'm so lonely" song, "I'm so stupid" song, "I'm not worthy" song. And I'll go to the extreme here. There are people who will come to me and say, "Yeah, that might be true about you. You believe that, and, but you don't know what I've done, and you don't know what I've said, and you don't know how horrible I really am. And this may be good for everyone else, and I'm glad it is, but I am terminally unique in that I am not lovable. I am not worthy, and I never will be, because of what I've said or done or who I am." And my message, I heard this actually from I think it was either Edwene Gaines or Dr. Terry Cole Whitaker, who's the best-selling author of "What You Think of Me Doesn't Matter." What I think of you doesn't matter. I'll have to look that up. It's one of the two. And their comment was, if you think that you are the only one who cannot be forgiven, who cannot be worthy, who cannot, then actually that's kind of like pride in reverse. What makes you so special that you are one of a kind that isn't going to be ever seen as worthy? So that was an interesting take on that. The whole victim thing. I take pride in being a victim. It's sort of that thing. So if that's the case for you, get over your victim. Get over the fact that you are terminally horrible. It's not the truth. And then I'll go further, that if you were one of the 7 out of 10 of us who've had that childhood trauma, who were given that message, and you think, "I deserve that. Somehow I did something as a kid to deserve being punished or lambasted or criticized or put down like that. And my message to you is that's bullshit-talkie. Nothing you do as a child warrants abuse. Nothing. When you're a kid, nothing. All right? So I hope you hear that. However, as an adult, you do have a responsibility to stop dragging that emotional, physical, mental abuse that you did have as a child and keep it, so close to you that it's part of your identity. That's not who you are. It is what happened for you, not to you or through you. It is something that chiseled you into the one-of-a-kind, magnificent creature you are. It alchemized you like Phoenix rising out of the ashes. So that pain in the past, if you can begin to shift the way you see it and realize that you are not that. You are a precious child of a friendly universe who got chiseled to become the magnificent, one-of-a-kind, wonderful that you are. That is the core of the move towards good selfishness. Because when you really believe that 88% of the time, you don't have to believe that 100% of the time. I still wake up with a fat and ugly attack. I still wake up not feeling very balanced and centered. Not a lot, especially if I'm good with my discipline of meditating on a daily basis, 15 minutes, where I get plugged into that friendly universe. Doesn't happen very often, but there are still times when I will feel like I'm unworthy or that I'm not good enough. And if it's 12% of the time, welcome to being human, and that's okay. But most of the time, because I know how worthy I am, because I know that I'm loving, lovable, and loved, because I know that I'm wrapped in a warm blanket of worthiness, then I can say no. I'm sorry, I don't have time to do that. I'm sorry you feel that way, but I don't have the energy to argue about it right now. I will get back to you, but I don't have time right now. I understand that this is what you want, but I can't do that for you without having a negative consequence on something else that I want to do or that I need to do or that I have decided to do. So that kind of holding to your balanced order. Let me talk about balanced order. So if you are afraid of being selfish and you are not selfish at all, and you don't care and you don't know how to care for yourself, then your order is most likely, if you believe in a higher power, if you believe in God or source or whatever you want to call that power outside of us that, make sure that every drop of water is different, or grain of sand or leaves on a tree, whatever that creation. If you believe in it, that will be first. If you don't believe in it, then the first thing is going to be what's next is other people, like in a negative, selfish way, or a not useful, selfish way. You are going to put other people in above you, and then comes you. So everything that anybody else wants comes first, and then you come second. That is a non-balanced order. That is the downside of either extreme selfishness or extreme unselfishness. All right. I have 8 minutes. So let's speed this up. The order that I am looking for balanced selfishness is God. This is mine. God, self, and others. And it's not going to be easy because we've been conditioned, and our society is conditioned, and maybe your culture is conditioned, where selfishness is wrong, bad, you shouldn't do it. So there is a balance. Again, I'm not saying, oh, that woman that left her family to find herself, that movement, that's not good selfishness. But selfishness where you put everybody in front of you, right? And not selfish, you're unselfish, then, or I call it self squared, is we don't want to be self centered, so we're self squared, and that is, we're all pointy and we're exhausted and a blockhead. How's that? So the order is source, higher power, friendly universe, then us, and then others. So if you believe that you're worthy 88% of the time, then this is your homework. If you find yourself, are you a yes person? Do you have someone inside that I call mine Penelope, the people pleaser? You cannot be happy unless somebody else is happy. It's time to balance it out. And it may be as simple as this. Kids want you to make breakfast. Okay. Of course, I'm going to make you breakfast. That is a healthy breakfast. That's my job. I had children. That's my responsibility. Okay. But after they go to school, right? Are you doing all the housework? Are you doing all that and trying to do all that before you go to work? Okay. And this is maybe not making somebody else do all that, but if you are, just a neat freak and a perfectionist and all that, that's also not healthy. And that's kind of like one of the control freak things. So in and of yourself, is it okay to allow your house to be spot a little bit instead of spotless? And with that time that you're not spending cleaning and ironing someone else's stuff, let them iron their own stuff, right? If they don't look good, that's on them, right? It is that practice of beginning to love and value your own time. That's good selfishness. That is giving yourself a break. I used to do a little social media thing, give yourself a break with Dr. Marissa. Just how many times during the day do you just stop? If you're in an office, I know you're supposed to have an open door policy, but just take 5 minutes and just sit and do something silly. I play Candy Crush. Well, I used to play Candy Crush or solitaire or something where I just take a time to chill out myself. I'm not talking about MS, meaningless scrolling, because that'll get you all whatever. But just take a little break and give yourself rewards. I don't know about you, but I enjoy manicure, pedicure, Chinese reflexology. I gotta try to do it at least once every other week. $35 for a great hour foot massage. These are things that nobody's going to tell you, oh, why don't you take a break? It's ridiculous. We get mad if we're not given a break and permission to give a break. You're the boss of you. Give yourself a break. Give yourself some of the whatever it is that you need. That is the bottom line happy 88. So first, get to the place where you are not swallowing your Kool-Aid around I am unworthy. That is the first thing. And go to coaching, go to therapy, whatever it is that's going to help you do that. The